started, they had 5 students. Today, they have 89 and volunteer staff. So this certificate of recognition is for the volunteers and organizers that can affect positive changes in our communities by utilizing their time and resources to make a real difference in the lives of children and families. And the Bridge of Georgia is committed to serving these children with special needs and their families through innovative programs and dedicated support. The Bridge of Georgia, founded in 2013, has grown from initial enrollment of 5 students to nearly 90, providing an extensive range of services, including the Academy's therapy clinic, occupational and speech therapy, fundamental foundations, and more. The Bridge of Georgia's founders and staff have tirelessly worked to create a comprehensive support system for families, reducing the time and travel burdens associated with accessing multiple services and striving to prepare students for the best future. The Bridge of Georgia has become an integral part of Walton County community, offering vital programs such as person-centered planning, career electives, and emerging adult program, all while maintaining a focus on continuous improvement and meeting the evolving needs of the students. The Bridge of Georgia's commitment to its mission reflects an inspiring dedication to community service and excellence, setting a shining example for others. The Walton County Board of Commissioners recognizes and appreciates the Bridge of Georgia's valuable contributions to our community and the surrounding areas through exceptional service and unwavering support. So now, therefore, I, David G. Thompson, Walton County Commission Chairman, and on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, do hereby present this certificate of recognition to the Bridge of Georgia. And we have an achievement award to dedicate today. And if Chief Haney would come forward.
Chairman Thompson, thank you, and thank the Board of Commissioners for allowing me to stand up here tonight and present these awards to one of my firefighters. Tonight's an honor to recognize one of our own, Captain Patrick McCullough. If you would you come up here and stand with us? Yeah, just stand right there. I've personally known, we call him Clay, so if I call him Clay, just bear with me. But Captain McCullough has been with us. I've known him for over 30 years. He's been with us. He started off in a Fire Explorer program about 25 years ago, and then transitioned, worked at other places, and come to us as a career fireman in 2008. Throughout his career with Walton County, he's shown eager to learn with intent, bettering himself and bettering the department and the citizens that he serves. He rose to the rank of captain in 2022. So the 2 awards I'm presenting to him tonight are not easily attained. It's a lot of hard work and dedication. So I'd like to present Clay, or Captain McCullough, with achievement awards, one of them being a certified company officer and a certified chief officer. He's already been presented this at the Georgia Chiefs Association meeting, but we're going to present him here as well also, and then give him his achievement awards through the department. So to complete these two classes, as I said earlier, it takes a lot of time and dedication. To complete the certified company officer, it takes about 562 hours and a lot of years to get to that because classes are only offered on certain times, once a year, twice a year. And then on top of the company officer, he's awarded the chief officer, certified chief officer award, which is an additional 144 more hours, which for a total of that, as I said earlier, it takes years to get, 706 hours worth of dedication and training to get these awards. I would now like to present him with the Chiefs Association Awards. By the way, this is Chief Zadell from Soul Circle. He's here representing the Georgia Chiefs Association, I'm sorry. On behalf of the department-wide, I'd like to present this certificate to Captain McCullough. It says, "Let it be recognized that Patrick McCullough has risen to the call of duty, completing the company officer certifications given by the Georgia Association of Fire Chiefs, his commitment to Walton County Fire Rescue, and moreover, the fire service has been duly noted." This is his company officer certification. This is his chief officer certification.
You need more hands.
Yes, sir.
Come on down now.
You there, buddy?
Yeah. Well done.
Okay.
Another picture?
All right. Come on up.
Yep.
Now, if everyone would stand again, and let's do the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll have an opening prayer. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, thank you so much for this day. Please be with us tonight and give us the wisdom to make the right decisions for the county. Please be with each one here. And Father, please be with all our first responders and let us not forget the school shootings last week. Please be with those families and all the officers and their families that responded. And please watch over us all and keep us safe. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order, and I don't blame y'all. I would go celebrate. And roll call, let the minutes show that all the commissioners are present. You have the agenda before you. Are there any additions or deletions? If not, I entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Is Kathy Betos here? Please come forward. We have a proclamation to declare this month Recovery Month. And this involves behavioral health, and that's part of everyone's overall health. And I'm going to let y'all explain more in detail what this proclamation is briefly. And we have a signed proclamation by the board here, and we probably need a motion to adopt this proclamation for this month. But I could read this, and but you can tell us better yourselves what this involves. And if you won't go to the microphone, everyone can hear you better.
So my name is Kathy Beto, and I am a person in long-term recovery, and I'm with Walton and Powers. We're an addiction recovery support center. And what this proclamation is representing is that recovery is very real and very powerful in this community, and that it's a national proclamation that September is National Recovery Month. And it is also National Mental Health, Suicide Prevention Month. So we wanted our community to understand what this means. We want everyone here to know that there's a place for people to go. This will be posted in our offices, 226 Alcovey Road, our street. And that's basically it. I can tell you, I can give you a long drawn-out thing if you want, but that's basically what it is.
We do have a long agenda tonight.
Yeah, I know.
But it is drug abuse and drug usage is a problem in all of our society.
It is.
And people get hooked on it, and they got to want help for it really to work. But this organization offers help, and they're nationwide. So I will gladly make a motion that we declare this month as the proclamation month for Georgia Recovers in Communities.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Thank you all very much for your
Thank you.
work and dedication.
Thank you
on
very
this.
much.
And you. Okay, we're going to have the county's manager's report because there's a good bit that he needs to report on, and we wanted to hold you hostage here to hear all of it. So,
I'll still try to be quick.
John, it's your
The first item that I have for you tonight is the appointment of Ms. Gretchen Thurman to the position of Assistant County Clerk. Gretchen transferred over from facilities to fill the new position in purchasing. So now we have a backup in purchasing, and she's done an excellent job. Her knowledge, skills, and abilities also have allowed us to further implement the plan of who we hired for that position, also being added in as assistant clerk. And that is a required appointed position so that we have a backup for that. It's already budgeted, but tonight I'd like to ask for your support in appointing her officially as the assistant clerk.
I make that motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Passes unanimous.
The next thing I'd like to share with you is, if you'll look at the screen there, this is a picture of Sardis Church Road at Youth Monroe. And this is part of the Highway 78 Youth Monroe Signal Improvement Project. There was a lot of really strange angles in the roadway system there. And if you look to where Sardis Church goes from left to right, that's going to be brought into Youth Monroe at a right-angled intersection, greatly improving the safety there. But the other component of what that provides is it allows for trucks to turn left or right. Right now, the only place trucks can turn left or right there because of the angle of the Sardis Church is through HD 8th. And we also have all that issue of HD 8th in that there's not enough stacking once people get off 78. So that project is well underway, and this will be another overview or a drone shot of how that will be curved in. After this is completed, HD 8th will be cut off, and we will remove the asphalt there. There will no longer be an intersection, and we've already notified Georgia DOT. They have agreed to install a traffic light at that location and partner with us on this project. So that'll be the third component of this safety project. Another safety project that we have underway, and this is through local road assistance funds, is this from left to right is heading back into Monroe down 78 from Athens. Bradley Ginn, we've identified an area there, and there's been quite a few accidents because as you're coming back from Athens, you come up over a rise, and then there's a road to turn right on there at Bradley Ginn. So that is a decel lane that Georgia DOT is adding in that area that should greatly also enhance safety. Other things in Public Works, they've completed Nunley Farm Road repaving and Miller Bottom Road. And the important thing about all of these projects is that they're a combination of state funds, but also local sales tax funds. So that's several more projects where we have sales tax dollars going to work for safety. Moving forward, November 16th, and Keep Walton Beautiful is going to have a there at the recycling center is going to have a paint collection event. So we'll have plans to dispose of that properly. EMS, last month they were dispatched to 1,606 calls. They've been able to keep staffing and keep responses up, but we are in dire need of additional paramedic applications. So if anybody knows any paramedics, we are hiring. In Parks and Recreation, the splash pad in between is closed for the season, and we recorded over 11,000 visitors to the splash pad over the summer months. Felker Park security cameras have been installed, and they're working on bringing them all online and connecting it into the main hub. The pickleball courts at Criswell that are going to be inside the newly enclosed building are almost complete, and the project budget to add pickleball courts at Ayers Park in between is in the process. The tax office is in the process of processing and renewing 84 conservation covenant properties across all of Walton County. In HR, we've had, just to show you a little bit of a change in some of what we're dealing with, we had 12 brand new positions. These 12 didn't count some of the ongoing sheriff's positions or paramedic positions, but 12 new vacant positions were posted, and we had 145 applicants. So we're starting to get much richer pool of applicants in there. Fire responded to 440 incidents and dealt with 14 actual fires over the month. In animal control, and this was something that I wanted to make sure I highlighted because of some of the changes. We've dealt with tethering, we've dealt with feral cats, and now as of August 26th, we've started a new schedule. The new scheduling is not requiring any additional budgeted funds. It's following in line with what was authorized by the commission, but those scheduling changes officers will be on duty 7 days a week from 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. We also will have, after 9, an officer that's on call to assist the Sheriff's Department. And beginning September 30th, the shelter will be open 7 days a week. Most people are off on the weekends. We hope to increase adoptions by being more available and also support the Sheriff's Department so that we have animal control responding to animal cases instead of working with them more business hours and then the Sheriff's Department shifting over. Water, you now have 17,881 customers. August is usually our highest demand month, and the estimated average use per day in this August was 6 million gallons a day. A little historical data, since we've got some planning and zoning issues coming up. In 21, we issued 394 meters. In 22, 493. In 23, 418. And so far in 24, we're back down to 390. Hard Labor Creek plans have been submitted for the new water treatment plant, have been submitted to the state EPD, and that process will have to get approval of the EPD plans, and then we'll be ready to go out for bid for construction. We have a new report in, and since some of this is pertinent to what you're going to be dealing with tonight, I'll conclude by sharing some of this. This is local statistics and economy indicators provided by Lightcast Incorporated, and they're providing this to local governments and development authorities and things like that. So the population now, last population estimate in 2023 for Walton County is 106,094 individuals. The population grew by 12,644 over the past 5 years, and it's projected to grow by 14,066 in the next 5 years. The top 3 industries and employers in Walton County: restaurants and dining, education and hospitals, and construction. Unemployment is below 3%. Crime, this is another kudos to our Sheriff's Department and our police departments. Countywide, violent crime is averaging 1.65 per thousand. The national average is 3.6. Property crime is averaging 10.84 per thousand. The national average is 18.22. So we're well under those. Migration, and we all hear a good bit about Gwinnett, Walton, and different things like that. Well, I drilled down into this report and everything, and it's pretty detailed. The total net migration of individuals migrating from Gwinnett County to Walton County in the past year, 2,959 individuals. Largest industries in Walton County right now: construction, government, and retail. Top growing industries: construction, accommodations and food services, and retail. And finally, top industry across the board as far as concentration of population: construction, utilities, and wholesale trade. So those are just some statistics I pulled from that report that thought you might be able to use those tonight. And finally, want to recognize we've had, a big impact with the events in both Greene County and Barrow County. And Battalion Chief Chris Eddy of the Greene County Fire Rescue, his last call was September 4th, 2024. And then over in Barrow County at Appalachia High School, teacher and coach Richard Aspinwall, teacher Christina Ermy, student Mason Schimmerhorn, and student Christian Angulo. all lost their lives this past week. The calls started coming out about Greene County, and then within the same hour, the call came out for Appalachia. Special thanks to all the brave first responders and others who ran towards danger to help. Walton County SO, Fire Rescue, and EMS all assisted and continued to provide services to Barrow County during and after the incident. Neighbors were helping neighbors through a difficult situation, and I didn't want tonight's meeting to go without being able to list the names of those who lost their lives. So thank you.
Thank you very much, John. And it is a tragedy, what did take place. Since you brought up the construction, I've noticed a good many construction people here tonight. If you're involved in the construction industry, would you please stand before we start this? Thank you very much.
This is the other side, government.
Well, some of it is the code office didn't stand up for some reason. But appreciate everyone's attendance tonight. We are going to start with the Planning Commission recommendations. And Sharna, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, 6.1, this is denial of land use 24050020 and rezone Z 24050021. This was a land use change from rural residential agricultural to suburban and a rezone of 39.82 acres from A1 and R1 to R1 OSC for a residential subdivision. The applicant is Adam Ewing. Owners are Jeffrey Bell and Joe Harrison. Property is located at Highway 78 and Lockland Road. This is in District 4. And again, they want to ask it to change the land use and rezone for a subdivision with 34 lots. There was some opposition at the meeting. Motion was recommended that instead of approving an R1 OSC, to recommend approval to an A1 OSC. There was some discussion about that, and then the motion failed. A motion was made to deny, and that carried 4-2.
Okay. I'm going to open a public hearing on this recommendation, and if the applicant or his representative would please come forward and tell us what you want to do.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, County Commission members. I'm Joshua Scoggins with the law firm of Miles Hansford. I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant, Adam Ewing. I always enjoy coming down here because I always see somebody I grew up with. Captain McCullough and I went to high school together, and he had a lot more hair and mine was a lot less gray. So I'm glad to see he's doing well. As Charna said, we're asking for a rezoning and land use plan amendment for 34-lot neighborhood on 40 acres of property located on Lockland Road. This is 2 tracts of land. This 5-acre piece here is being combined with the piece behind it in order to create a 40-acre tract with a proposed density of 0.85 units per acre with 28% open space. As you can see from the proposed site layout, what we're basically planning to do here is cut off access to Highway 78, which currently I believe that property is accessed directly off the highway. It is. Bring one entrance out onto Lockland Road with a D-cell and A-cell lane. My firm was engaged after the board was kind enough to defer this matter at your last meeting. And since that time, we have drafted a list of conditions which imposes some additional requirements on the project, including increased minimum house sizes, increased minimum lot sizes that are almost 5,000 square feet larger than your standard minimum, as well as architectural standards, including the requirement that we have brick or stone water tables around the front and sides of these houses. After speaking with Mr. Ewing, it appears like the market value of these homes is going to start in the mid-4s. I don't have to tell all the construction people here what the costs of construction are these days, so to build one for less than that is probably not possible. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, and I will ask that the rest of my time trying to be reserved for rebuttal. Thank you.
All right, are there any questions from the board? All right, thank you. Is there anyone else here in favor of this that would like to make a statement? Seeing none, the opposition would please come forward, state your name, your address, and please, with the long agenda we have tonight, let's try not to repeat the same objections over and over, please.
I'm going to be turning the timer on, and each individual is allotted 3 minutes.
So I got an email from Ms. Rhonda Hawk that we were not going to be at a 3-minute time limit. She said anybody in opposition can speak as long as they need to speak. I can pull that email up if I need to. I will try to speak fast.
I'm sorry, I was reading what was handed to me and was not listening to you.
I specifically had asked if we would have a 3-minute time limit to Ms. Rhonda Hawk, and she had replied to me that no, we would not be in a 3-minute time limit because we're speaking in opposition. We were not applying to speak.
No, that's in public comment in general. Here we try to award each side 10 minutes.
Okay.
Total.
Yeah, 10 minutes is what.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. You had said 3 minutes, so.
Sometimes it runs over that, sometimes it does not. So
Well, thank you.
please continue.
I spoke at the Planning and Development meeting, so my name would be on your agenda minutes. But I will try to say kind of what I said already. Maybe I'll try and say it a little bit quicker. So we have a community of homeowners that chose the area off of Laughlin because of its rural character and agricultural setting. Laughlin is beautiful, tree-lined streets. We have wooded areas, wildlife, habitat, natural water streams. We have estate-style homes on varying acreage. I did a study of the 101 surrounding homes. I took out the large acreage. We've got some, 100 acres lots. We have some 25 acres right across the street from me. I took that out. The average lot size is 6.6 acres. This proposed subdivision is an average of 0.6 and 0.7 acre lots, drastically different than what we have right now. The Walton County Comprehensive Plan was mentioned several times in the letter of intent. It was also mentioned in the letter from the lawyer. So I kind of wanted to talk about that. I read through the comprehensive plan and, just some things that I saw. This rezoning will introduce a suburban type development in an area that is shown on the future land use map as rural and conservation. So I brought me some visual aid. I know y'all know what this is. We're talking about this blue area right here. This is the only section in Walton County that's still rural and agricultural. This is where they're wanting to put a suburban type subdivision, which is drastically different than the whole surrounding area. So no other part of Walton County is rural and agricultural except for our little area right here that we live off of. Laughlin Road continues on into the conservation area. So Laughlin Road is actually a combination of rural and agricultural and conservation. If something like this were to get approved in our area, it would set a precedent for future land developments that y'all would not be able to deny. Right across the street from this is a church. Behind that church is 26 acres owned by Mr. Mazzoui. If this were to get approved into a subdivision, that 26 acres could possibly be turned into a subdivision, again, in this rural and agricultural setting. The owners, Mr. Bell and Joe Harrison, also own several other lots down Laughlin that they to date have not sold yet, to my knowledge. There's 3 acres of 10 acre, about 8 to 10 acres, about 31 acres together. If this gets approved to be a suburban type subdivision with these tiny lots, what's to say that 30 acres just a half mile down the road, is that going to get turned into a suburban type neighborhood. On down Laughlin off Mount Carmel is about 64 acres. What's to stop that from getting turned into a suburban type subdivision? Statements from the comprehensive plan. Pages 15 through 17 discuss the need to significantly reduce suburban expansion throughout the county through future rezoning decisions. And there seems to be strong desire in East Walton County to maintain a rural character. Yes, that's why we're here. The ones that are here to oppose this, we want this little section to remain rural and agricultural. Page 38 states, preserving rural character while accommodating growth is the predominant theme of the rural residential and agricultural segment. This area will feature 2 acres per dwelling and retain the rural qualities. That is all we're asking. Do not change the rezoning. Keep it 2 acres. That would be more in line with what we already have. That would be keeping this rural and agricultural area that we already have. There was talk about this area zoned A1R1. So I know that, you're looking at, well, it's A1R1. Well, we kind of did a little bit of research, and these lots were actually, a majority of it A1, a very little tiny line across the street was R1. Done back in 1970, no record of why. So we feel that the majority is A1 is what these are. And we want to keep it that way. On January 9th, at your board meeting, there was a proposal for errata number 2 to change A1 and A2 zonings to allow for 1 acre. All of y'all voted to deny, which we're happy about that. That's encouraging to me. So y'all see the need that A1 and A2 zonings need to remain 2 acres, and that is what we want here. Your mission statement states, the Board of Commissioners seek to provide quality service in a responsible manner to provide the guidelines necessary for the future prosperity of Walton County citizens. Citizens, this is what we want. We don't want this area to turn into suburban subdivisions. Most of us agree that we moved out this way to get away from subdivisions. He mentioned that almost 3,000 people moved here from Gwinnett. Well, you know what? They moved here to get away from Gwinnett. They want Walton to stay rural and agricultural. We don't want these tiny little lots, these tiny homes. He mentioned that the homes were going to be valued about $400,000. The house plans are included in the agenda. We were looking at them. They're 1,800 square feet. That's pretty small. And to be in the mid 400s, those are not affordable homes. So how is this going to help Walton County citizens? This isn't going to help Walton County citizens. This is going to help people from outside be able to move in. These are outsiders moving in, out of the state or whatever. These homes could potentially become rental homes. That's what these small house sizes are. Where we are, we have estate homes, and I'm not too much concerned with the size of the house. We actually just built our home on a beautiful piece of property, and it's a smaller house, but we have land, and that's what we want. And I don't think I mentioned our house, and I brought another picture. We live off Mount Ena Church Road. Our house, the back corner of our property will back up to the back corner of this proposed subdivision. And one of the things that we're pretty upset about is that the proposed retention pond is going to drain directly into our pond. And I did bring this picture. This was not included in their packet. It didn't show the neighboring ponds. Our pond drains across the road into the Nash property pond. So we're very concerned about a retention pond. We know that if it's, my husband works in the water resources in Gwinnett County, we know if they're maintained properly that they can do its job. But mandatory HOA, I did see that in the documents. Who's to say that they're really going to maintain that? And during the construction process, we've moved into our property a year ago, and we've stocked our pond with fish. We know through this property it's going to probably ruin our pond with all the drainage from the retention pond. Further, this area here, which all of us that are here, we know this, it has a lot of soil issues, the whole area. All of these different, 8-acre, 5-acre, 10-acre tracts that were split up and were now being built on, which majority of them are already built, just built. We all had soil issues. This area is very wet. I know that there were some perk tests done. We saw some of the ribbons and things. I don't know that they did enough for 34 septic tanks on this small piece of property with water issues. A lot of work will have to be done on there. Also, the Georgia state guidelines recommend at least 1 acre for septic tanks. Their proposal are showing 0.6 and 0.7 acre lots with septic tanks. We all have wells, all of us in this whole property. With all these septic tanks in here, they're going to have county water. We have wells. If any of these fail, is it going to mess with our wells? Those are some big concerns that we have. I did kind of, I talked about traffic. I know, everybody talks about traffic, but, this is a small, quiet country road. You're talking, 34 homes on a very small piece of land. We're, 100 feet, 200 feet from 78 is where the entrance is going to be. That's going to be an extra 100 cars in the morning. There's buses there's bus stops right there. There's buses that try to go in and out. It already takes, they've had wrecks on 78 trying to go across. A traffic study would need to be done. We have Brooklyn, a little 5-year-old autistic granddaughter of Mary Louise Cooper. They live in the corner house right there. It would be right by the entrance of the subdivision. There's even an autistic child sign that y'all just recently put out there. She has a special bus that comes and has to stop and take a little bit longer. You're now going to have, a big neighborhood of, 100 cars trying to get in and out, really disrupting her world. Something to think about. There's been a lot of several statements in the application, even some on the letter from the lawyer talking about losses to the owner, and there's no other things that they can be that can be done with this land. We feel that this land was about 2 years ago was all split up into several different lots. He could have split it up any different way. Why did he choose to save this, little 38, 36 acres right here to now say he can't do anything with, and then all of a sudden to try to turn it into a subdivision? I did get data from Q Public. To date, the 2 owners have made $2.8 million on the sale of these lots. If this lot sells and the other few that he has available, they'll stand to make about $1.4 million more. That's about $3 million in pure profit. So I strongly disagree with any kind of loss to owner statement. In the last meeting, we were here when this got tabled, so we sat through a lot of presentations of FFA, I guess it was, the archery team and the shotguns and the shooting tournaments and how well that these students did. Well, where do these students practice? Don't they practice on a big piece of land? Don't we need land for these kind of things to occur in Walton County? If we start taking every little inch of land and turning them into subdivisions, we're not going to have anything for our younger generations, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren to do these kind of things at. In fact, I think a couple of y'all were talking to one of the coaches about how y'all used to shoot dove way back in the day. Well, where did you shoot this dove at? On large pieces of land. So we have to keep our land. Walton County doesn't have a whole lot left with all the approvals of all these subdivisions. We need land for our children, for healthy gun safety, for these kids to be able to do these things that we were able to do when we were younger.
Okay.
Okay, I have one
Would
last
you
thing.
please-
The letter from the lawyer that was included in the agenda doesn't even have the correct owner name on there. I thought that would be something to notice and to point out. And lastly, we have a petition that all of our surrounding homeowners signed. You already gave it to her. We gave a copy to the Planning and Development Committee, but we wanted to give you a copy as well. In closing, we just want the growth of East Walton County to be the same character as our surrounding homes. Keep 2-acre lot minimums. Keep our green space, our trees, just for our future. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You took up the whole 10 minutes for the opposition, and I think you covered just about everything. Is there something she missed that the opposition would like to say briefly? Please come forward.
My name is Corey Finn. I live at 1501 Lockland Cemetery Road, and I'm going to be way quicker than that. With all due respect to Laura and Jason, who I admire and respect a whole lot, technically I didn't even want them to move in over there. That being said,
I even got hearing aids, and I didn't hear you that time.
I'm sorry.
I did get hearing aids, y'all. I'm supposed to be able to hear now.
I said, with all due respect to Jason and Laura, and my son fishes in their pond all the time, I love these guys. Technically, I didn't even want them to move in over there. That being said, I am never going to stand at a podium and tell somebody what they can and cannot do with their investment. There were two positive feedbacks that the Planning Commission gave, and it was two members who voted in the affirmative. One was, at least this is not going to be a Dollar General. And I think in everyone's opinion, I don't want to speak for everyone, but those that I've spoke to, we would prefer a Dollar General to be right there on 78 than these homes to be broken down. And the second thing, I don't want to call anybody's name, but the gentleman that was sitting right here said, what about the youth of Walton County and homes being able to buy affordable homes? Without naming any names, I went to school with two of Mark Bank's daughters. I coached Jeremy Adams' kids in baseball. I know every single one of them very well. Mark's two oldest children, absolutely no problem could afford a $400,000 home. All of the younger ones, not even a chance. So I just wanted to mention that the two people that had voted for the affirmative was because of our youth and being able to afford affordable homes. Thank you.
Thank you. Real quick. Yes.
My name is David Schultz. I live at 4446 Lockland Road, and I'm one of those people that moved from Gwinnett to Walton for the very reason why we're having this rezoning here tonight. I lived in Gwinnett for 30 years. I lived in my home in Snellville for 30 years. I moved out to the rural area of Walton 2 years ago because of the same things that we're here for in this rezoning. It happened with my subdivision and a tract of land right beside us that got downzoned, and they came in and built smaller houses, and it took, I don't know, probably 15 years for my property value to rebound from that. And during the housing crunch, all those people that bought those affordable homes that didn't have any equity in them lost them, and half the subdivision wound up vacant. That's the main reason I moved to Walton County, is to get away from that. And then here, I've already bought in my land, built my property, and now I'm faced with the same thing. I don't have a choice. I've already bought. I don't ever intend to buy and move again. I'm retired, and that's where I plan on living until they put me in the ground. The problem with this is, even like the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Board had made mention about the small 0.6, 0.7 acre tracts on this land, was that when you put a septic tank on the land,
We've already covered that.
Yeah.
She covered that.
But he denied, he made comment about that because you don't have any area left for repair.
We understand that.
Okay, but the thing that concerns me is changing the scope of the area where I moved after I've already took my life savings and put into my property, and now I'm faced with the same thing. You're not going to take $350,000, $400,000 homes and compare them to the rest of the properties around there without affecting the values of them.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to give I'm going to close the opposition's comment.
Chairman,
Got one more.
Mr. Groom would like to speak if you so allow it. Over here.
Oh, still got a couple more?
I'm going to be quick.
You promise?
I promise you. Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners, Matt Greer, live at 416 Highway 78. I'm that little piece right there on 78. My thing is, they came in and cut the timber off that land a few years back. This time, they have came in and cut the timber and everything all the way up to our property line. I know some of the other folks that are here, they've probably done the same thing to them, cut all the way up to the property line, not leaving any buffers or anything. I think there needs to be a buffer between our property and theirs, if y'all do approve it. I kind of hope you don't, because I've been out there since 1994, and I've been in the county since 1968 when I was born. I came home from Athens and was here. Family's been here my whole life. So, like I said, if y'all do approve it, I hope you do put conditions on it. I spoke with Mr. Bradford on this. I've not heard anything from the property owners that say, hey, what can we do for you? They ain't doing anything, so.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. One more, and then we're going to have to close this and move to rebuttal, because I do want to hear some of the debate tonight, y'all. So let's.
I'm James B. Durden, and I live at 4425 Lachlan Road. One thing that hadn't been talked about, I drove a truck for 50 years. Yesterday, I was coming down Lachlan, a lot of truck traffic coming up there now. I had to move over because the truck couldn't get by me without his trailer swaying across the line. If you approve this, there's going to be construction on Lachlan Road to put the water in about 300 feet. It's going to be a bad traffic problem. If they get that in, build a house, there's going to be trucks coming in and out off of 78 onto Lachlan Road. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a big mess. If any of y'all have ever been down in traffic where there's building trying to get through it in an automobile where there's truck traffic, you know what I'm talking about. There's no way around it. Lachlan Road's not that wide. Lee has been to my house. He helped me with a water problem 4 years ago. He knows how wide the road is. It was paved 4 or 5 years ago, and it's already showing signs of wear. So we can't get a light at 78. State said they wouldn't put a light in there. So, you know, think about those things before you vote, please.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to close the opposition and allow the applicant to have his rebuttal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just quickly, as far as the septic water runoff issues are concerned, I live on a 0.6 acre lot and I have two 7,500 gallon septic tanks. So I can assure you that's not an issue in terms of fitting septic systems on a lot that size. As far as buffers and setbacks, I know Mr. Greer said he lives, I guess, between this tract and 78 on one of those little pieces. We're required to have a 50-foot buffer around the perimeter of the property that's landscaped. So to the extent trees were taken out, we'll have to put them back. As far as the character area goes, if you look, you'll notice if you zoom in on this property, that rural residential and agriculture character area exists nowhere else on Highway 78 except at this pinch down point right here. Every other parcel up and down 78, excuse me, is either employment center, highway corridor, or it's suburban. So I don't think there's any risk of a precedent being set of this creeping down Lachlan Road when really you've got two pinch points right here on both sides of 78 where you can rezone this property to something that's feasible without creating problem for the entire basin. So with that, I'm happy to answer any additional questions. Thank you.
Okay, any questions from the board?
How wide is Lachlan Road? You know, Mr. Arnold?
It's an 80-foot right-of-way. I'm assuming the drive lanes are at least 12 feet wide.
All right, any other questions? Well, I'm going to close the public hearing and ask commissioners if they have a suggestion on what to do on this, or a motion.
So y'all, this is the district I represent. I've come out there and met with a lot of y'all. I've actually reached out to the person that's asking to do the development. I didn't get any feedback. I also reached out to the property owners. I didn't get any feedback. But the one thing I will tell you is sometimes we have to make tough decisions. And this is a decision that's really not a lot fun, but I feel in your interest and in mine, if it were right next door to me, it'll be in the best of the interest. And that would be improving some of the quality of what could go there right now. Right now, somebody could go in there and Sharon, tell me if I'm wrong, 1,400 minimum square foot homes, no approval, no nothing.
They could put modular, could they?
They could put modular, you could have modular, you could have, there's a lot of different options. When you start looking at what your codes and how they're written, they really are written, you know, for a little bit of everybody. So with that being said, in trying to improve the quality of what is going to go there, I'd like to make a motion to approve an A2 OSC with the following conditions. 1, that a neighborhood's to be controlled by mandatory HOA with design and building covenants and restrictions. You good, Rhonda? I don't want to speak faster.
What?
I was just making sure Rhonda was good. The second, the minimum of a 2,200 square feet, one-story home, a minimum 2,500 square feet, two-story home. A minimum of a brick or a stone water table around the home, up to the windows. All side entry garages. The shingles to be architectural. All chimneys to be masonry. The masonry stoops and steps on the front and side of the home to be a minimum of 5 feet in width. The roofs shall have a pitch of a 10-12 minimum on the main body, front to back, a 9-12 minimum on a ranch-style home, and a 12-12 minimum on pitch or accent gables unless approved by the ARC. All dwellings and facades are to be constructed of wood siding, cement fiber siding, brick, stone, stucco, or other masonry-type products. Vinyl and aluminum siding is prohibited. The project entrance shall be landscaped by the developer and maintained by the homeowners association. The entrance shall include a decorative masonry entrance feature. Landscape plans and entrance feature design shall be subject to review and approval by the Director of Planning and Development. All homes shall obtain the approval of the ARC, which is the HOA Architectural Review Committee, prior to beginning construction of the home. The declaration shall provide design standards for not only the home, but the yard, fences, and retaining walls, and a specific list of restrictions for the development. And then a minimum 50-foot buffer to be undisturbed, along with an evergreen screening between any existing property owners' homes. I ain't sure I can say a whole lot more, but the what?
Excuse me.
The home size would be a minimum 2,200 square feet for a one-story. Oh, the lot size? That would fall under an A2 OSC, which falls under the 1.5 acre density. density.
This is not a question and answer. He's making his motion. Please. Are you through?
I think so.
Does anyone want to second this motion?
Question, is the lot size an acre and a half?
It'll be an acre and a half yield.
Acre and a half yield. It allows for larger buffers on the existing property owners,
Well,
which,
let's discuss it if we get a second, because what it requires is 60% of the man's property to be set aside in green space. I studied up on your A2 OSC, but go ahead. Does someone want to second it, and then we'll discuss it?
One second.
Kirkland Dixon, second. All right, now we'll open it for discussions and questions. And I'll start with the board if,
Let me start. We make, I know I can't build a rabbit box. And I bet most of these people on this board can't build one. And it is ridiculous to put that many conditions on anything. I'm not a builder. I can't tell them what the pit should be and what kind of shingles they should use. Let's either approve it or vote it down, but that's the most conditions I've ever seen on a piece of property.
Mark, just to follow up, those conditions were actually mirrored off of what this board approved, including you, on Snows Mill Road.
It might be, but I've never seen, how many conditions is that?
all right. Let's keep it to this
Are
particular.
some of those conditions already in our code? And you're
Some of them are. Some of them are, and I'm just mirroring them to make sure that people hear
Well,
and
Lee, what I have a problem with, and I want y'all to understand this, it's not the conditions, it's not 1 acre, 2 acres, or whatever. What I have a problem with is your property rights, everybody's property rights. And the change of zoning, this A2 hadn't been discussed or brought up with the applicant or the citizens, which requires by law to assure due process is afforded the general public. Local governments must exercise in their zoning powers by advertising and holding meetings on that particular zoning. Now, this A2 OSC, whoever it is, 10 acres, 20 acres, you're paying taxes on 20 acres of land. You force a A2 OSC, 60% of that property is hereby confiscated by the government. It states in definition, requires that the government pay just compensation when it takes personal property or real property. A taking may occur when a government regulation restricts the use of land, even if the government does not invade or occupy the land. That's exactly what you're doing. If it's going to be A2, let's advertise it and go through the process. I can't support an A2. And with the restrictions you put on there, yes, Snows Mill was done, and it was done with restrictions like these because the homeowners around there had very nice homes and stuff, just like this group does. It's not the size of the lot, it's the quality of the products put there. You can take an A2 period and 1,400 square foot, you can put a modular home on it. Somebody could take this, 39 acres, 40 acres, take out an acre and a half of the road, get, 18, 19 double wides in there right now without going through any zoning process. That's the last thing any of us wants to see happen. And with the rental market getting like it is, I look for it to happen somewhere in the A2 zoning. But my big problem is due process. This A2 was never discussed with the public nor the applicant. which is required under our zoning laws. And I have a real problem with that.
So my question is just to make sure I understand then, is what if, and this is sort of how it's put to me by speaking with Chip and others, the property is zoned a certain zoning now, and anything in between that zoning and what's being requested is possible, which I've seen this board do several times. The land use map shows it being an A1 or A2. That's what it shows in the land use map, which I'm trying not to get too far from that. So these are some of the things that I'm using sort of as my guiding principles, not to mention things that I didn't even agree with all the stuff that got put on, like out at Snows Mill Road, the
You
changing of
voted
that.
against it, yes.
But regardless, I'm trying to come forward with something that, Matt, there's some very nice homes out there. Very, very nice homes on Lachlan Road.
This, I've lived here my whole life.
Beautiful.
This was went blank, but anyway, Dillard, it was Tommy Dillard's farm. It was set out pines. He used to grow soybeans there. And the owner created his own problem cutting up 5-acre state lots and 6-acre and 3-acre, 4-acre, and people built very nice homes. It's a very great area. But, you know, my 2 cents is you're going for a zoning, trying to limit the number of lots, which is fine, but you hadn't advertised it. You hadn't put it out there. You hadn't gone through due process. And, well, that's my part of the discussion. Anybody else want to make a comment, and we'll call the vote on this? All right. No other discussion? We'll call the vote. Those in favor of Mr. Bradford's motion, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
We have Jeremy,
Yep.
Lee, and Kirkland. All right, those opposed to Lee Bradford's motion, say aye and raise your hand. Aye. Your motion fails.
May I make a second motion?
Try again, yeah.
May I make a motion to accept the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission?
Have you talked to council about that motion? He's recommending against that. But you can make a motion. You can make the motion,
I
but
was for, that was sort of, I mean, I made the motion that I thought was fair,
I
property
understand.
owner and
I understand, and
the owning landowner.
that's history now. It didn't pass. He's making a motion to uphold the planning commission, which I have to take. Is there a second to that motion?
So is that a denial? What is that? Is that a denial or that's a?
That's a total denial. It's a guaranteed lawsuit. I'm sorry, but
But a second ago, it was like approve was presented or deny was presented. So
Second.
I'm confused.
all right, we have a second. All right, those in favor of approving the total denial, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
2. Okay. Those opposed to doing that, say aye and raise your hand. Aye. So that one fails. Now, I'm going to try a motion, and it may not pass either. And my comments are Bradley Ginn Estates is less than a half mile across the street. Very nice home, very nice subdivision, didn't take away from any homes. I move we approve this A1 OSC with the exact same conditions that basically you just said that Snows Mill was put on. There'll be the larger homes, more architectural design. There'll be $650,000, $700,000 homes if it gets built there. And it will have the green space and buffers is my motion. I don't know if that'll get a second.
Chairman, I think you said A1 OSC.
I meant
I think that was a
R1.
good one. I agree with you
Yeah.
one time, yes, sir.
Thank you for correcting that. I was thinking about planting my collards tomorrow, I'm sorry. But R1 OSC, to be exactly like the conditions we put on the Snows Mill development down there in this district. That's my motion.
Second.
I have a second to that motion. Now you want to discuss it,
Does that include a,
Incorporating by reference,
sir?
you're incorporating by reference the Snows Mill condition?
Exactly what the conditions was we put on Snows Mill, which were very stringent. It's got multiple architectural controls that, I don't think we made the chimneys masonry, but everything else that he covered was just about
Yeah,
covered.
I got it right here.
And they may have, which
Front side
means,
chimneys shall be masonry. Chimneys that penetrate the roof may be stucco, synthetic stone, or shakes.
oh,
Shakes.
the ones on the outside of the wall has to be masonry up, but not a true masonry fireplace. The chimney itself, the race. Okay, I understand that. Anyway, my motion is to mirror the Snows Mill item by item for this development, which we all felt, and we went to court on that, and it was upheld, and neither the developer was happy nor the people around the development was happy.
I thought we kept that from going to court. I thought that didn't go to court. It was going to court, but y'all worked that out and it didn't go to court. Is that correct, or it did?
It-
Court, and then there was a settlement.
Okay.
And so y'all did a rezone, but you can't settle a case.
Without the rezone.
Without a
Okay.
rezone. And then the neighbors sued unsuccessfully. So it was upheld because we threw out the neighbors' challenge.
Okay. Well, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other questions or comment?
one last question, Mr. Chairman. What about the buffer? Is that included in your,
In the R1 OSC is 50 foot.
Yes, sir, there is a buffer that's required, but the plantings, if y'all want to just add that, to put some screening back in there and those buffers,
Where it's been cut.
and the transitional
I
buffer.
don't mind adding that.
Add that to
by
it,
no
if you don't
means. And it being an R1 OSC, unlike some that I've seen done, I want in my motion, that the green space circumference, in other words, nobody backs up to another person's
So
property
you want the open space surrounding the perimeter.
surrounding the perimeter. And then that way, the homeowners association takes care of the green space. There'll be no dog fences back up to another back fence.
Okay, so I just want to get this straight. So if we put the open space surrounding the perimeter, is that where you want the plantings at? And not necessarily in the 50-foot transitional buffer, but in the
Well,
open space?
I don't know what's been cut off of it or what's been done, but it should be buffered for those type homes.
On that property.
Going in there on that property.
Defer approval to the planning director.
That'll be fine. All right, we have a motion and a second on this one.
You amended your motion to encompass a proper requirement,
Right.
not only a planning requirement to be approved by her, as well as the open space.
Right, the buffer's real important on this one, so, and understand, even though it's a R1 OSC, these soils have to perk. Everybody that's been approved for these things lose 8, 9, 10 lots because the soils don't perk. But at this point, I'm just trying to get on to the next part of the agenda and make everybody mad, both the applicant and the residents, I guess. So we have a motion and a second. I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor of this, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Oppose?
Aye.
Passes unanimous. All right, Sharna, next on the list.
Chairman, I think it was
It wasn't unanimous, 6-4. Thank you. Y'all done got me so frustrated. Yeah.
Got warm in here, didn't it?
Thank you. All right, 6.2, Sharna.
Yes, sir. Okay, this is the Planning Commission's approval of Z24060009. This is to rezone 60.19 acres from A1 to R1 OSC for residential subdivision. Applicant is Reliant Homes, and the owner is MFT Land Investments. Property is located at 3254 Double Springs Road. This is in District 1. At the Planning Commission for this case, there was no opposition, and the Planning Commission recommended approval unanimously.
Okay. Is the applicant here? Would you please, I'm going to open a public hearing on this one. Please come forward and tell us what you want to do.
My name's Ned Butler, representing MFT Land Investments and Reliant Homes, located at 574 Conyers Road in Loganville, Georgia. As Sharna stated, this is a request to rezone this 60 acres A1 to R1 OSP for a 26-lot subdivision. This project will provide a large amount of open space and a buffer that surrounds the entire exterior of the project.
Ned, let her put it up on the map, please. This one, I'll ask a question while she's getting that. This is our R1 OSC request.
Yes, sir.
But your yield's 2.3 acres.
So this property is a little different in the fact that through the middle of this property is the watershed line. So we have two different watersheds on this property, and that limits us on the portion that's fronts Double Springs Road, and it increases the buffers, and there's a lot of streams and springheads on the back portion of the property.
Okay. All right.
So we're pushing all the lots towards the front of the property. We're still buffering all the way around at least 50 foot, and then there's a large buffer area or open space in the back of the property as well. One of the concerns that was brought up by Public Works was a site distance. As you can see where Hickory Grove Church Road comes in across the street, there's a curve there. It's also coming down a hill. We have, on our plan, slid the entrance further down that hill and done a grading plan to open up that site distance in that hill. We've provided that to Plan and Development and the Public Works Director, and they seem to be satisfied with what we've presented. As we go through the construction design process and approval, we'll have to certify the site distance and further justify that to the planning department. Another concern that came up is if you see that little square on the northern middle part of the property, that is an old cemetery. So if this rezone is approved and we move forward with construction design, we will hire professional architectural consultants to delineate the exterior of that cemetery, make sure we don't disturb any of it, and then we'll follow the county code, which will require access easements and fencing around that cemetery to keep it protected.
Well, that's a landlocked cemetery with no deeded access.
That's correct.
What family do you recall?
I've talked to him here recently, so I should know that. I can't remember.
That's okay. You can tell me later. It's not.
I got pictures of all
I just know all.
headstones out
I know
there,
all of them up that way.
I think it's Griffith is some of them. So other than that, I would just ask anybody that's in this room that would be in favor of this rezone and to help continue support quality growth in our community, please stand up.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to the Board of Commissioners for your time, consideration, dedication to our county. I'll save the rest of my time for any rebuttal or questions that you have.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else here who would like to make a statement in favor of this development? If not, we will take the opposition now. Those that would like to come up and voice their opposition, please come forward now. I don't believe this. All right. Thank you. There is no opposition, so I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion on this application.
Chairman, I think this is a good use of that piece of property. I'd like to support the Planning Commission's recommendation to approve this zoning case.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. All right, any further discussion or comments? If not, we'll call the vote on this one. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? That one did pass unanimous, or someone just didn't vote. Thank
Chair,
you.
before we move to the next one, we'd like to recognize Mr. Butler. He will be our new school board member beginning January 1st.
Who is that? Oh, Ned, that's right.
He'll be the new school board member.
And I do want that name of the family after this meeting, sir. Thank you. All right, Sharna.
Okay, 6.3 is Planning Commission approval with conditions of case Z24060023. This is to rezone 34.26 acres from A2 to R1 for residential subdivision. The applicant is Rosewood Development Company, and the owner is AHC Bentley Bold LLC. Property is located at 3525 Bold Springs Road, and this is in District 5. Applicant is asking for a 22-lot subdivision. There was some opposition. The Planning Commission did recommend approval with conditions before the permits are issued. An assessment by the county will be completed and signed off by the county that the site meets required site distance, and assessments be made on the 2 out parcels in the blind curve before driveways are permitted.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Plaintiff, ask them to be quiet out there, please. All right, I'm going to open the public hearing on this one, and will the applicant please come forward and tell us what you want to do? And
Good evening. Thank you, guys. My name is Chris Rosendahl. I'm the owner of Rosewood Development Company, located at 513 Plantation Park Drive in Loganville. And this is the current landowner, David Caruth. We're looking to develop a 22-lot subdivision with 2 out parcels. We're looking to zone from A2 to R1. Originally, we came in here and there wasn't much opposition other than they had questions about site distance and things like that. And there were some other questions about the existing pond on the property. So what I did is I changed the lot configuration to give almost 20% of open space and still stay in R1 without having to go OSC, which I personally like a little bit larger lots. That gives me 1+ acre lots. Gives me more distance between the lots at 150 foot versus 100. Again, I personally like a larger lot with what I build, and I build custom homes. I'm not a tract builder. Everything I built is design build. So basically, I don't really have a minimum square footage or a maximum. People want a 3,000 square foot house, that's when I'm gonna build them. If they want an 1,800 square foot house, that's when I'm gonna build them, but it's gonna be custom and it's gonna be above and beyond what most do. With that being said, I brought several of my workers with me. I'm local to Walton County. I've been here my whole life. I've been building for over 20 years, and I try to let all my subcontractors, everyone that I use that builds for me, are all from Walton County, and they're all businesses in Walton County. So I think that's important to share with everyone. And a lot of them came with me today, and if they would stand up, that'd be great. I just wanted to let everyone know that, I'm a local guy. There's a lot of times some of these things come about that I don't always agree with either. But at the end of the day, I believe that a lot of these guys depend on what we do. A lot of folks own businesses in Walton County, and the construction is, like you guys mentioned earlier, top 3 in Walton. And a lot of folks depend on everything we do. So I just want to ask to get this approved and build some pretty houses.
Okay, any questions at this point? The two out parcels, what size are they?
Acre and a half.
Acre and a half?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
The only thing I noticed there, it looks like there's going to be, there really is an issue with sight distance, but there are some trees that I believe when I take down that are in the right of way, it'll clear the view or there won't be an issue. It was brought up that if it was an issue, if we would put in a shared driveway between the two out parcels, when the county comes out to take a look at that, if they require me to do that, I'll be glad to.
So-
I prefer two separate driveways for those two lots. And I do want to remind you guys too that, you know, I could have applied for R1 OSC like everyone else, and I could have got 26 lots. But I decided to go R1, larger lots. I gave up 4 lots to do this, so I really don't want to share a driveway. But if it ends up being the case, then I'll be glad to do so.
Well, if, in my opinion, I don't know, boy, if the obstructions are removed, like a big bank or something, and it's tapered back and you can see, then there's no reason, in my opinion.
And I believe once I'm done that the county will agree when they come out to assess the lot and where the location of the driveways will be. I believe that they'll agree at that point that
Okay.
sight distance won't be an issue.
All right, any other questions from the board at this point? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, is there anyone else here would like to speak in favor of this? If not, we'll open, we got one speak in favor.
Hey, Josh Parker. Just want to be real quick. Man, y'all got a hard job. You can't, like you said, Dave, you can't ever make anybody, it's hard to make people happy. I definitely want to speak in favor of this, but I also just want the county to be mindful that obviously that is a dangerous, you know, I travel up and down that road every day. It's Bowl Springs Road, but we might as well call it Bowl Springs Highway because that's what it is. So I do want to speak in favor of it. I know Chris, and he does definitely put out a good product. He builds a high quality home. And obviously I know he's very proud of it. Obviously employs a lot of people. But if the county could be just very mindful of the fact that, you know, that is a dangerous curve there. Bowl Springs, it's Bowl Springs Road, but it's really Bowl Springs Highway. So hopefully they take the necessary, you know, safety procedures to obviously protect the public, you know, traveling back and
We always try to.
So.
All right, thank you. All right, anyone else in support of this want to say theirs? All right, the opposition, anyone wants to come up and oppose this development, please come forward. 2 in a row. All right, I will close the public hearing and ask the board their recommendations on this.
Chairman, I'm going to make a motion to approve with the new plan with the 20% open space, and then let Ms. Sharna's department make the decision on the out parcel driveways. If there are no obstructions and it's safe, then 2 driveways. If there is an issue, we'll do a shared driveway.
And let's add John Allman, Roads and Bridges, making a comment on that.
Yes.
Too.
I'll second the motion.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Is there a comment?
No, I guess to my motion, just what planning and zoning, what was approved. Okay.
All right. Understand what the motion is, y'all? All right, we have motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Thank you very much. Sharna, you're up again. And Josh, you're right. It is tough at times because you're not going to make everybody happy.
All right, 6.4, approval with conditions of Land Use 24070002 and Z24070003. This is a land use change from highway corridor to neighborhood residential and rezone 91.26 acres from A2 to R1 OSC for residential subdivision. Applicant's Carter Engineering Consultant. The owner is Glenda Sales. Property is located on Highway 138, and this is in District 5. There was some opposition to this. The Planning Commission did recommend approval with conditions of minimum square footage for single-story home is 2,200, two-story 2,500, side entry garage, only 60 lots instead of 63, and that motion carried 4-2.
All right. All right, I'm going to open the public hearing on this one. And if the applicant or his agent or attorney or both want to come up and tell us what's going on, we'd appreciate it.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? My name is Logan Moss, address 1110 Tallis Street, Bogart, Georgia. So I'm here to represent the builder, my home communities, Jacob Prather. Like everybody else here tonight, Jacob's a local guy, grew up in Good Hope. We have the best intentions for the county. I think y'all have done a great job as a commission, the planning department. We're keeping out these national builders. I mean, that's what we want to keep doing. It's not what we want to see. So we did discuss with some of the neighbors, and Jacob spoke with Commissioner Adams and you as well, Mr. Thompson, in regards to some of the things that were brought up. So I think, when we originally applied for this, we were asking for the R1 OSC. Sounded like, we got some opposition and pushback on that to stay in the agriculture A2 zoning. We are fine with that. Obviously, we will lose a few lots. But with that being said, we are good with, going to the A2 OSC versus the R1 OSC for this particular project.
It was my understanding that y'all requested or are requesting tonight what was proposed on this other property is the A2 OSC.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And to still keep the square footage on the homes that was recommended of 22 and 25 or what?
We sent in a revised conditions. I don't know, Ms. Sharner, if you got those. It was just 2,400, which is obviously.
Generally, it's 24 on the two-story.
Correct.
If the one-story is 22.
Yes, sir. Yep. So 22 and 24, so 22 single-story and then 24 for the two stories. Along with that, which is obviously well surpassing the minimum, which the A2 code requires of 1,800, if I'm correct. We don't plan on doing that. Now, with that being said, we do have, and on our presentation, you'll see that we've got houses that go up to 3,200 square foot. These are going to be priced around high 4s to low 5s. And in lieu of all of that as well, we've obviously got the nature parks. I think, Chairman Adams, you had reference maybe wanting to see a nature trail of some sort, and you'll see that on the plans tonight. We included that. I think that's a great idea, especially with having that river right there, just to kind of show the beauty of this property. I'd like to hand it over to our attorney. He's got a presentation he wants to show you guys. Thank you.
I'd like to see that. Thank you.
Thank you. Bryson Mercer with Miles Hansford, 202 Triple Gap Road, Cumming, Georgia. All right. And I'll be quick. Logan covered a lot of it, but as he pointed out, we did revise this request after meeting with the community. We originally requested 63 lots with the R1 OSC district. We are now requesting A2 OSC. And then that's an aerial of the subject property, and it includes this small out parcel. There's a zoning map, character area map. We are requesting to amend that to the suburban character area. And here is the site plan showing the stream on the eastern portion of the property. 60 lots shown throughout the property, open space, and I'll get to that in just a minute. This slide highlights all the open space that we are proposing in red right here. Several parks, trails. So we are proposing a total of 22.46, or required is 22.46 acres of open space. We are proposing a total of 29.97 acres, which exceeds that minimum. And then if you do the calculations where 50% is required to be outside of the buffers, easements, and flood areas, we're still proposing 15.26, which is above the minimum of 11.23. This is just showing the lot sizes on the bottom and how they vary. And here are the proposed conditions. I know I emailed these over, I believe either earlier this morning or late yesterday. So we are good with 2,200 square feet for single-story, 2,400 square feet for two-story homes. We've got the setbacks, the 100-foot building setback adjacent to Highway 138, minimum lot size of 0.60 acres, all shingles, architectural shingles, some of the ones that mirror or are very close to the Snows Mill Road rezoning.
Side entry garages, is that?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't think that's in here, but we'd be agreeable to it.
That's generally not a big issue.
And if you'll look at our elevations here, our renderings,
Right.
All of these are side entry products.
Okay. Any questions from the board at this point? All right, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here want to speak in support of this proposal?
I have one more thing to mention.
Okay, please do.
So as most of you guys are aware, there's a sewer line running down the river right there. This project is adjacent to the city of Monroe. By approving this tonight, you alleviate any issues down the road of somebody taking this parcel and annexing it into the city of Monroe. By doing so, they can tap into that sewer. Also, by doing so, increasing the density to 3 units per 1 acre. Therefore, that goes from, 60
Go
lots
from 60 to
100.
240.
to 180. So by allowing us to do this tonight, that will never be an issue. So I just think that's something very important to consider when, you guys make this decision.
All right, thank you for that comment. All right, is there anyone else here want to make a statement in favor of this? I'll give the opposition. You're coming up next. You're coming up next. All right, we'll open it up to the opposition. Please come forward and make your statements.
Yeah, just quickly, my name's Tony Smith. I live over off of Criswell Road. So to me, this subdivision, I don't really have a whole lot of problem with it other than where it's located. And you're starting to get 138 there, as you well know, is already a mess at very best. I don't know what the problem, I don't know how to fix that. But if you load all these other houses on there, then, what are you going to get to? While we started onto this, and now this is our 4th subdivision for tonight, and now we have added 200 lots in our
111.
111.
Right.
What since we've opened up this door, I think the one thing that the commission and the planning commission should start to look at is underground detention systems rather than open ponds. As you well know, and John is quite aware of this, and what we spend on trying to maintain those open ponds, that an underground detention, even though it costs the owner more money up front, you can have green space. You don't have to worry about children get hurt. You don't have to worry about maintenance on it. You can put a parking lot on it. You can put your playground on it. There's so many advantages to underground detention, and I think that's something that the board and the planning commission should start to look at.
We can look into that.
It's a good idea. So if you need some help with that, let me know.
All right.
Good evening, Chairman,
evening.
Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I am Lisa Anderson. I live at 1230 Highway 138. We own 1226 Highway 138. My mother lives at 1160, so we're right across the road from this property. We've lived there since 1971. We are not opposed to this development, but we do have some concerns. So glad to hear that you're in favor of R2, leaving it the A2 zoning. We know that there are other nice developments on Row Road, such as Lake Monroe, that's zoned A1, 1.5 acre lots. Also, Weston Estates is A1 and A2, which is 2+ acre lots. I have spoken to Mr. Prather, and he shared with me his plans that the homes would be side entry garages. The homes would be up to 3,000 square feet. The base of the home would either be brick or stone. We hope that you will put these stipulations on this. If you do choose to rezone or go forward with this development, we ask that you also have an HOA and a nice entrance to the subdivision. And of course, we'd love to see minimal trees cleared as possible. And another concern is developing on the river. This is a lot of septic tanks that will be close to the Alcovy River, and that is a major concern. I'm sure you're familiar with the Alcovy River Bridge project that will be replacing that bridge. Probably the construction or the land acquisition will start taking place in 2025 and completed by 2027. The bridge is in bad shape, in very bad condition. A temporary bridge will be placed to the side of the current bridge and detour the traffic there on the temporary bridge while they remove the old bridge and construct the new one. So that is a lot of construction for that little stretch of the road if you choose to allow this development to go forward and with this bridge project. Also, the traffic. I know you don't want to hear about traffic. You hear it, but it's a big deal. And the decisions you make affect our traffic. And based on the Georgia DOT site on 2023 numbers, that stretch of 138 has 20,400 cars a day. It's more than that now. That was in 2023. The estimated average daily trips per residence in this development is 6, according to the developer's application. That would be adding 378 more vehicles entering and exiting daily. I'm sure that doesn't include construction vehicles, school buses, trash trucks, that kind of thing. If you do move forward with this, I would love to see you work with the DOT and maybe reduce the speed limit there. I know once you cross the bridge, it changes to 45. It is a racetrack. I would love to see that speed limit reduced there. So we are asking that it remain at A2 with the stipulations. I believe that Logan has covered most of those tonight, but I'd like to see that if you move forward with this, that you put those stipulations in your motion. We know that A2 works because it's doable with our other developments around in the area. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. One at a time.
Not too quick,
Not
I'm
yet.
still here.
Let the opposition have their say.
I'm Jerry Rowe. I live at 1320 Highway 138, just above Ms. Anderson's place there. This subdivision will back up to my sister and I's place there. It's in a trust, and we've been on that property over 100 years now. So we've been there a while. As far as traffic goes, I want to give you some numbers. I went out there myself and measured the sight distance from where this entrance is going to be to the top of the hill. Traffic will be coming from toward Walnut Grove toward Monroe. You can see 573 feet from there to the top of the hill to see a car coming. That seems like a long way, but at 55 miles an hour, it takes to get out in the road right there, you have 7 seconds from the time that car is there till it hits you in the road. So that's not very long. And that's going from a dead stop, crossing the lane, and turning left toward Monroe. In my car, I got a 2018 Ford Edge, and it's an average car for the county, I would think. And brand spanking new, that car will go from 0 to 60 in 7.2 seconds. That's in optimal conditions, and that's what the manufacturer says. So that's starting from a dead stop, going straight, like a drag race. to start from dead stop, cross a lane, turn left. You can't make that before something gets on top of you. And that's at 55. There are very few tractor trailers coming off the top of the hill there at the old Coggins store, down that hill and down the next hill to where this is going 55. So understand that traffic is going to be a real problem here, and not just a problem, but a real danger to people. If I can do that 7.2 seconds in my car, a trash truck takes 3 days to get out there. They're just slow. School buses, everything else, construction vehicles, it's going to take a while to get across that lane and turn left toward Monroe, which is where most of this traffic will be going, to be honest. So go ahead.
No, when the applicant comes back up, I was going to ask a question. We don't have any say on the DOT entrance. I know they're going to have to put a decel lane coming from Walnut Grove to turn left. And I didn't know if DOT was going to strict right in and right out or what that deal is there, but it'll be DOT's call on the entrance.
I don't think there'll be a decel lane coming from toward Walnut Grove, because that would be heading into traffic.
It will be just like the subdivision up above it. They will have a lane to turn into and wait to cross traffic to go in. They'll have to do that. I've been informed of that.
Okay, so they're in the middle of the road then.
That's a safety factor coming from Atlanta
I got you.
this way. And the bridge replacement is going to be a nightmare, but it's happening all over the county too, so. But go ahead. Yeah.
Just wanted to mention the time and traffic, because I didn't know anything about a turning lane. That's the first time I've heard anything about that.
Yeah, I have been assured that they will have to install that, so they have to widen 138 there to do
They'll have to
that.
figure in with the bridge.
Right.
Okay. Now, that's my say about the community stuff. Now, let me tell you about me and my family. We've owned that property for, like I say, close to 100 years, and we make noise. We ride dirt bikes, four-wheelers, and we shoot guns. And that's just how it's going to be. I would like to see you guys put something in, and I don't know if you can do this, put something in this approval that the developer has to let people know that that's going to go on before they buy. Because all that's doing is creating a problem for the county law to have to come out there every time we shoot a gun. And we shoot clays, and we shoot deer rifles, and we make noise. So that would be a big help for the county to put something in there for people to know that. Now, we do have signs up there on the pipeline and on the front of the property too, that there is a shooting range there and it's going to be loud. But your real estate people are not going to point that out unless you guys make them.
That's
So
a
I would
good
ask
point.
that you point that out.
That's a good
It'll
point.
save everybody a lot of trouble. So I'm a little worried about the septic tanks. We heard a lawyer here say he had a 7,500 gallon septic tank. I've never seen that.
Okay.
750 gallons is probably what you got. 7,500 gallons is getting on up into tanker truck size. But anyway, that's my concerns. I hate to see this coming in, but it's going to happen, and I can't stop it.
Thank you. All right, anyone else on the opposition side? All right, rebuttal real quick, please.
Yeah, just want to touch on obviously kind of the main point of traffic. This is a much better area to have traffic coming off of a state highway versus a county road. As you said, there will be a decel lane that's going to be required by the DOT, so I don't think you'll see a big increase in, traffic in that stance. Is there any questions from you guys that I can kind of help on? I think, as far as the guns go, most houses that we're selling folks to in Walton County would probably love to be your friend. That sounds fun. So, we're not worried about that issue at all. Is there anything from you guys that I can kind of help make clear? No?
If I may. Regarding some earlier comments in the opposition, I believe Ms. Anderson requested a brick and stone water table, an HOA, and an entrance in the conditions. We have accounted for all of those things.
Well, the OSC causes you to have a homeowners association.
So we have a homeowners association with design and building covenants. That's also in the conditions, so if the code were to change, we'd still have to adhere to it. We will have a landscaped entrance. Landscaped entrance and maintained by the homeowners association. And we would be agreeable to a 24-inch water table consisting of brick and stone.
And the new proposal that you put up there does have walking trails within the property.
Yes, sir.
Would you be opposed to an information pamphlet about the neighbors and their activities when you sell homes? You know, if there's a shooting range next door or something like that.
How would you like that worded? Maybe.
I'd be hesitant to put that in a zoning condition, just because if it ever were to change from not a shooting range, we're required by that zoning condition to give out pamphlets to anyone who buys a home that there is a shooting range, even if that's property is developed, 80 years from now.
No.
Although I don't think we'd object to doing that, I just would be hesitant to put it in a zoning condition.
Putting it as a zoning condition. All right. Just a question.
Understood.
All right. Any other questions from the board? All right, I'm going to close this public hearing and ask the board for a motion.
Chairman, I appreciate the cooperation, trying to find a good solution to this neighborhood. I mean, it's a lot more palatable to look at 60 homes versus 200 homes if Monroe was to annex this. So I'd much rather see a 60-home community than a 200-home community. And I think the builders and the developers have been really receptive to my request and very informative. So I'm going to make a motion to approve the A2OSC with the 60 homes, with the list of conditions that they showed tonight, with the side entry garages and the water table he just mentioned, and whatever that needs to be. I don't know about the shooting range and how that is notified, but whatever, Ms. Sharna, whatever there is to.
Well, you could have the first sale, let them know that there's a shooting range around, and then it's up to the next seller to notify.
Only thing I have is that would be hard to control by our
We're in an
department.
agricultural zoning, so I think people that are living in agriculture, I shoot guns at my house, so, if they live in agriculture, they got to expect there's going to be agricultural activities.
Right. And if you would, Commissioner, the conditions that he had up there, you can just incorporate that whole, he did send those to me.
Yes.
And you can just incorporate that.
Home sizes. And
We did something up on Ho-Hum Hollow one time for the Garretts, didn't we? They were building a subdivision up there, and they wanted a sign put up that was a working farm because they was
We did
putting
one time
chicken
down
manure and.
We did one time before.
Yep. I know we had a lot of problem over in Bowl Springs about the shooting range several years ago, that the guy was.
But I think that
Perfectly legal.
gentleman just put the sign up himself. This is a working farm, it stinks, and just had a sign.
All right.
I just don't see long-term residents get rooted out by.
We have a motion. Can we get a second, and then we have discussion? I'll second it so we can go ahead to discussion. Any questions other than what we've already covered?
I would like to say too, Chairman, we've got several projects that we're trying to get the state to help us out on state highways with speed limits and intersection improvements, and obviously we're going to stay on top of what's going on over on 138 and trying to make sure it's as safe as possible for everybody, just like out there at my office at Highway 11. We're working. We're trying to get them to help us, and it's not easy, but we will.
It only took 3 months to get the decel lane at Bradley Gin. 3 years, excuse me.
We're definitely going to stay on top of that, and I do also want to say the gentleman, Tony, got up and spoke about I would like to get us to look in, John, to more information on the underground detention in the future.
Sure. All right, but we have a motion and a second right now. Any other discussion? All those in favor of this, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Passes unanimous. All right, you have before you the administrative consent agenda.
You ain't gonna not cook my collards, are you? Best collared cooker in Georgia. I said the best collared cooker in Georgia.
I don't know, I'm a pretty good collared cooker myself. All right, administrative consent agenda. You have your regular call meeting, regular meeting, your purchases, declaration of surplus, mainly IT items, the contract renewal for the Family Connection, and the professional service agreement with Kavanaugh McDonald Consulting. Are there any questions on any of those? If not, entertain a motion they be approved.
So moved.
We got a motion to approve. Need a second.
Second.
We have a second. Any questions? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimous. You have, under finance, we have two change orders. First one's McCarthy Barnsley on the jail. The change orders tally up to $650,323.86. We are still 1.9 million under budget on this project on the owner's contingency, and there's a management contingency also. We're still around 2.8 million under budget on this project, and these are things that were put down toward the end of the job to see if there was money left to doing it, like your interior walls in the sheriff's, additional furring. We slipped those out. We put tent glass in one section. There's a dental chair that we didn't know that we could afford to begin with. That was put off till last. So,
Chairman, the biggest portion of that change order is being able to upgrade the system, camera system, and equipment in the existing building to connect to and tie into the jail system. But what we were able to do was, because of the cross coordination between the two buildings, basically it gives Greg an upgraded system that will also tie into these new camera systems that we're placing at the parks.
all our camera systems, the ones we're putting in the parks, the jail, everywhere is going to be on one system. And it can be seen from multiple locations, multiple monitoring points. But we're getting everything. Before we had different systems, and we're getting everything all on one page. So, but we'll have to approve these change orders individually. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve this change order with McCarthy Barnsley.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We got a motion from Commissioner Shelnut.
Second.
We got a second. I didn't catch who that was. Mark, I guess, or Bo? Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose?
Abstention.
Abstain.
We got two abstains, Kirkland and Bradford.
Quick question. Have we already started ordering like all the stuff for the internal parts of the jail? Like, you know, let's say radios and like all the different components that are and all that stuff?
FF&E and everything's on track and on schedule.
Everything's on schedule.
When we get the
It's looking like it's ahead of schedule, like a pretty good bit.
We're a month and a half ahead of schedule.
All that's tracking together.
But they don't want to brag about that at this point.
Yeah, coming into winter, it changes.
What I like better than being ahead of schedule is still being under budget, and that's huge in this environment right now.
The nice thing is we're both.
All right, we have a change order from Reeves Young totaling $238,997. There's a credit by deducting the original athletic lighting design, and then we're having to, the buildings, they thought they could do the pre-engineered steel, and all the steel designs don't match, or you can't get one to match with the design of the buildings we got, and custom build would be even more, so they're just going to straight build the concession stands, the community center, and the bathrooms. So this amounts to $238,997, still within the budget that we've set, so.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve?
Second.
We got a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Passes. And we got one abstention.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Bradford abstains. All right. Resolutions, you have in your packet, we have a project line budget for the additional pickleball courts, excuse me, Mayor Post. The pickleball courts in between, we are adding 8 more pickleball courts in between on property that we gave the city to build a city hall, and they gave it back to us to build the pickleball courts. And it'll be 12 total now if this gets passed and we build these 8.
That's correct. We're going to add 29 parking spaces and lighting to the old pickleball courts, and the new ones will be fully lit.
Wonderful.
For the total amount is $489,536.
And this budget is $489,536. We need a motion to move forward on it.
I move that we approve.
We got a motion by Commissioner Warren. Second. We got a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Any abstentions?
Is this coming out of Splost?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. 9.2 is Project Link budget, and this is Splosh for deep patching and resurfacing. Total of $1 million. John, I'm going to try to speed on. This is $1,455,000, and this is to get in preparation for next year's paving, right?
Correct.
I'm learning the road.
Good.
And the list of roads are attached. You got multiple. We got 6, 10, 14, 16 roads that are included in this.
Almost 10 miles.
And it's is what Splosh is for. It's $1,455,000. Need a motion to approve that, please.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve?
Second.
Got a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, passes unanimous.
Thank you.
You got a proposal for your 2025 holiday schedule before you. Any changes or any additions? You want to add a holiday? If not, I need a motion to accept the.
Motion to approve.
We got a motion to approve. Need a
Second.
second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Passes unanimous. Acceptance of bids and proposals. 11.1 is pre-engineered metal building